Welcome back, guys. As you can see, I'm back at the cabin again and spring is in full force. So just arrived and took a little scope out of the place, and everything looks to be in order. Got lots of deadfall this spring, so I can see I'm going to have a lot of things to clean up. So come along on today's adventure. I have a few things planned. I need to plant some new trees because last year, as you know, we lost about 50% of our little seedlings that we planted for our windbreak, the white pine. We had a very bad drought last year, and we lost several mature trees as well. So I'm going to do that, and I also have plans to install a wood duck box. So let me show you what I got to do. Here she be. This is a wood duck box my husband made me for my birthday. I got 2 of them. So they're a nesting box and they're quite a good size. The neat feature about them is that you can kind of open up this little pin right here. So once you take the pin out, now you just open up the side. Woohoo, look at that inside, easy peasy, because you got to clean them out every year. As you can see here, there's some grooves cut into the front panel right here, and that's to help the ducks kind of climb out, especially the baby ducks as well. I'm going to set this up using, got a pole system here just for a chain link fence. So this is the main post here. It's about, I don't know if that's 7 foot 8 inches, but it's pretty tall and it's nice and slippery. So a lot of predator animals won't really be able to scale up here without sliding down. And got this as well. This is a little stake that basically attaches to the bottom of the pole here. And we're going to drive that into the muck, I'm thinking, and then we'll attach the house to the pole. So imagine my delight when I arrived today, and look at the garden. It is awesome. It's starting to look like a beautiful little home here. You know, I love planting gardens for myself in the fall so that I get that surprise in the spring as to what it's going to look like. I started this garden, I've been working at it every year, and last year, you guys know, in the spring I did some work as well, put some beautiful plants in here. And in the fall, I sort of tweaked it a little bit, and we'll take a look too at my tulips for the Canada 150 celebration. And walking up to the pathway to the cabin here, here's my Canada 150 garden coming up. Look at that. These are the anniversary bulbs, you know, for our 150th birthday here in Canada. And when the tulips come out, they're going to be red and white. So I'm pretty pumped about that. They look like they survived the winter nicely. So we'll see what they look like when they come out in a few weeks. Looking over here, you can see that big patch of grass. Do you guys remember what that is? Well, it's, yes, you got it, the winter wheat. So it did really, really well. And I'm pumped because, you know, it's turkey season here. Turkeys are all over the place, and they haven't managed to decimate my little winter wheat crop. So let's have a closer look. Yeehaw, look at that. Really healthy looking. It's a few inches tall there. It's going to take some time to come up. It won't be ready to harvest until some point in the summer, I'm thinking. It's also time for the woodland gardens to bloom. We've got some honeysuckle here. Right down here is our provincial flower, the trillium. When it opens up, there'll be either a red or a pink or a white flower. The cabin is surrounded by them, so it's really pretty actually the next few weeks. The cabin is just magical, you know, with all the flowers around it. I want to take you over and look at the winter wheat over here in my garden box. So I planted a bit there too as an experiment. And it appears to be doing well as well. I wonder if it got a little bit of nitrogen burn there. It's looking a little bit yellow. It's possible. Of course, you know, I did put the fertilizer in there. I think you can see little bits of it. Maybe it's a little bit too much. Let's go now and check the winter wheat in the field and see what happened there. So here we've arrived at the spot I planted the winter wheat in the field, and you can see in some of the rows, you know, there are little patches of them coming up, but I don't think they did as well here due to the high pressure from the turkeys. Turkeys just love winter wheat sprouts, the grass and stuff. There's a few little pockets of it kind of coming up that you can see. So it's the forest for the win. I'm really, you know, pleased I actually managed to plant some in the forest. I found that was the best location. The field here is just way too open. The turkeys just, you know, the little flocks of them, they just spotted it right away, magnetized into it and decimated my crop. So I guess we'll call this one the trap crop then. So they got more magnetized out here and didn't mess around near the cabin to pluck out all my winter wheat. I want to show you something I found actually as I'm trotting through the field here. Looks like it's some kind of a bone. Oops. Look at that, it's sort of sawn right off at the top. So I think this is someone's garbage, and a fox or coyote or someone's dog kind of dragged it over here. There's our little solar panels. We've got them attached to our little wood storage area. And it's charging the battery in here that I'll take up later to the cabin. So I'm gonna have light tonight, and yeah, it looks like it's charged. So I want to take you over here and show you how badly some of the mature pines did as well. The tree we're coming up to now is the one that I did my video where I decorated it for the winter for my Nature Lovers Gift Guide 1. As you can see, it's just looking a little rough. So the top part of it here lost all of its needles. It's still very pliable and flexible, so I think it's still alive there. And definitely the rest of it's alive, but just looking a little worse for wear. So you can see the discoloration of the needles and how easily the needles are sort of shedding. You know, I don't think it's going to be doing a lot of growing this year. I think it's got to have a recovery year. 2016 was not its year. A lot of these plants are going to be really stunted and be set back about a year. But we'll see how they go. They're resilient. They'll come along. But some of them unfortunately didn't make it. But thankfully there's lots of others to take their place. And speaking of that, I want to show you guys, I just picked up on the way up here a whole bunch of little tree seedlings to plant. I might get to that today, I might get to it tomorrow, but I'll show you what I'm going to do. Got it right here. So the forestry center, I've got my little seedlings here in the bag. When we're ready, we'll take them out. Remember, when you're planting seedlings and they come in the packaging like that, you don't want to take them out because they're bare rootstock, the ones that I got, which means that they're really susceptible to drying. And if you just leave them out, they're really not going to do well. They'll die within, the first month or so of planting because, they got so desiccated. So you want to keep them nice and moist and plant them really quickly when you get them out of the bag. Well, off I go. Got a lot of gear to bring with me on this little adventure to put up the wood deck house. So what am I doing? I'm towing the little sled behind me. So that'll make it easier until we get to some parts where I'll just have to sort of portage the items that I need in. Look at all this deadfall this year. Tons of stuff, lots of cleanup to be done. For now, I'll just weave around them. Save them for Christmas trees for next year. Well, isn't that nice? Look at this. I've just stopped on the trail here. There are some more trout lilies. And that's the yellow flower I was telling you about in my video, Taste the Wild in the City. And you can see beautiful color of the flower there. So this is a wild edible. So I've got lots of it here at the cabin throughout the forest. Oh, there's a trillium. So everywhere you look here, it's those beautiful trout lilies. See the modeling there of the leaves. As the season goes on, the leaves will eventually fade away and the flowers will fall off and you just really won't see them anymore. So this is one of the most beautiful times of the year to see the wild edibles come up and all the greenery on the forest floor. All right, guys, I knew it. Look at this. That is moose sign. So you can see I'm not going to touch it, but it's fairly decent sized nuggets of poop there. It means the moose have been through. So I've got 3 cameras set up. Every time around this time of year, it's a little bit of a thoroughfare. The moose kind of go along this old logging trail. So I'm pretty excited. I want to check the trail cams to see if I got anything. I hope so. I had the Browning set up and a couple of the wild game cams set up there as well. So we'll see what we've got. Mushrooms are everywhere. It's been so damp out that we're having a lot of mushrooms come up. I think those are false morels. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Definitely you don't want to eat those, but I'm betting you this year it's going to be a bumper year for morels due to the dampness. So I'm going to keep my eyes out for, the edible mushroom, the morel, and some other wild edibles as well. But just want to point out those mushrooms are coming up. These guys, I think they're false morels. They've got that brain-like texture, that darker color, and they are not suitable for eating, so just leave those ones well alone. So these are not an edible mushroom. And they're kind of, see there's kind of like a cap to them. Whereas the morel, if you look in your field guides, sort of continuous with the little stalk there. But yeah, they look very different, so do not eat these. Right, so I've arrived at the bay here, and I found the spot I want to put the box. So right now the bay is almost completely drained. It's going to fill up in the next week or so when they raise the river up. It is a river controlled by Ontario Hydro, so our bay levels sort of fluctuate a bit, but in no time this is going to be filled up and the ducks are going to be all over the place. So the spot I've got right here, it's open, it's easier for me to work in. So I'm going to drive that little stake in here. On the back of it, it's sheltered really nicely with these cedars here. So I think it's a good spot. I don't want to put it in a particularly windy area or, you know, right into the sun or something like that. If you can face the box in a southerly direction, so it's kind of warmed all day. You definitely want to kind of place them, you know, a little bit out of the prevailing winds. You don't want the prevailing winds to go into the hole and sort of chill the little babies. So I'm going to use the back of my axe here. Well, now I'm deaf. That hurts your ears. All right, so now you can see it right there. It's really driven into the ground. So I'm going to put the screws in there and attach the adapter. So we'll put about 2 of them in at a time, then we can kind of balance it out. So basically I'm going to use some of this galvanized all-round strapping. And of course I forgot something to break a piece of it off with. So I'm just going to fatigue it by flexing it between my fingers several times. There, so I got a few pieces. Now I'm going to go grab the pole. There, that's on there good. Yeah, I cannot slide that pole out now. All right, cool. Great. So, just gonna fold that back in there. Yeah, that's on there solid. That's not sliding anywhere. Ooh. Now I'm putting up the box. Oh, cool, there's ducks flying overhead. Mallards, though. All right, here we go. It's a bit of a job once you get the box attached to it. So I kind of want it facing into the bay a little bit. Cool. All right, it's all done. I put some wood shavings in there. So that'll be nice nesting material for the babies. Well, now that the hard work's done, putting up the box, I'm going to take a little stroll around the bay and explore it. It's not often that I get to see it when it's completely emptied out. So I want to kind of explore and see what we can see. There's a bit of a long shot there. I don't know if you can see it right in there. We've got the wood duck box. You can see all the little snail shells, little snails that died last year, and that's pretty crazy. In the past, when I've been here a few years ago, when it was this mucky, there was all kinds of shorebirds. Ooh, this is tough walking. There's all kinds of shorebirds, as I was saying, when I was here a few years ago. So like plovers and greater yellowlegs. Those are like little shorebirds. So that was pretty neat. You know, it's really neat to see the biodiversity that we have here on our land at the cabin. Well, I knew I'd find something. There's a shoulder blade and a rib. Oh, that's cool. Let's take a look. So that's from a couple years ago. Woohoo, that's crazy. Look at that, there's the shoulder blade. rib for the collection. Well, I'd found the lower jaws and everything, but I never did find the top part of the skull. So must have gotten dragged off somewhere. But one of these days, I'm sure I'll find it. Look what I found, a perfectly preserved, dried up crayfish. That's cool. I think I'll keep him for my little oddities collection. So I'm just back relaxing in the cabin. It started to rain on my way back. So I'm just gonna get some supper ready. And I want to share with you a couple of things I actually found. The property tends to swallow all kinds of things. You know, you can lose them very easily in the grasses and the brush and the leaves. So I was just sort of walking, you know, back, and I'd missed a few things over the winter. For one, I lost the cap to the lens cover for my GoPro here. And it's just like a little protector that you stick on so that the actual lens doesn't get scratched. I'd also misplaced a knife that I got for Christmas, and I knew kind of where it fell off, but I couldn't see it in all the snow, so I had to go looking for it. So on my way back, I swung by my snowmobile there, and lo and behold, there it was. I also found an old saw. So I don't know how on earth I managed to see this. It was laying by the dock, you know, by the bay there. So that's really cool. I'm glad to have that back. And here's my knife. This is awesome. I'm so glad I got it back. I missed it terribly. As you know, I do like my knives. So it's a beautiful knife. It's a Longueuil. Probably saying that improperly. It's got some beautiful design work on there. So I'm really happy to have my pocket knife back. So on my way back to the cabin, I also swung by the trail cams, and I wanted to see what I got. Holy moly, that's awesome! Oh my gosh, you are not gonna believe this. Stay tuned, there's some awesome trail cam stuff coming up. Have a great week, guys. Stay tuned.